So overall with this film, I think that the sun is essentially a metaphor for God. It is a giver of life. The sun is dying at the moment in this film, and they're going to reignite it. And because it's dying, the earth is dying. Now you can read that as a metaphor for the world's faith. You know, if you think that faith is dying out in society, that in turn is causing the world in some way to die. Now we have these two crews who go towards the sun to reignite it, and on both crews we get particularly one man, if not all of the first crew, but particularly one on both, who starts to look at the sun almost as if it were God. So we get Searle on the Icarus II, and on the first crew we got Mark Strong's character, who was the captain of that crew, who went apparently insane along with the rest of his crew, and whether he killed his crew or not, or whether they willingly died just looking into the sun, we don't know. But one thing is for sure, the captain believes, or has come to believe, that Earth's time is up, that the sun is God, and God decides when we die, and who are we to argue with that? That's something that he says at one point during the film.
When he chooses for us to die, it is not our place to challenge God.
We are going in these two spaceships, and we're using science to try and reignite the sun. And then we have this character on the second ship, on Icarus II, Searle, who starts to exhibit behaviour that could very well end up with him becoming like that Mark Strong character. You know, he's looking at the sun. There's one point when his own captain is about to die. He's about to be faced with the sun in all its glory. And rather than showing concern for his captain, he's just asking him, what do you see? What do you see? He's that eager to know what it's like to come face to face with the sun. And he's more concerned with that than he is for the life of his captain. That's how obsessed he's starting to become with this notion of the sun being this something of a glorious presence. If you look at it from a biblical standpoint, when people have looked into the face of God during the Bible, they've become blind. Some have even died. You know, you think about Paul on the road to Damascus, comes face to face with God, and he goes blind. And these characters as well, they can't stand being within the presence, the full presence of the sun, this thing they have come to believe is God. So you've got characters like Chris Evans' character who are purely logic-driven, fact-based, science-based, and Michelle Yeoh's character to that extent. I mean, when her world is kind of torn apart, she suddenly becomes a different person. She starts talking about killing off other crew members. That's because her world is purely driven by science. And then you get characters like Mark Strong's character, who becomes a religious fanatic to the point where he kills his crew, possibly, or he's certainly trying to kill this crew, just so that they can't achieve their goal. So there's that, you know, it does show you the religious fundamentalism and the scientific fundamentalism. So again, like I say, we've got this thing that is a popular notion throughout science fiction films, something that is explored quite regularly, this faith versus science. We see this in Sunshine. At the end of the film, Cillian Murphy's character is face to face with the raw power of both the sun and the science that they've created, this bomb which has literally just exploded, and we get this brief moment where it's kind of a surreal moment where he reaches out and he touches the power of the sun, essentially. And in front of him he's got the sun, behind him he's got this bomb, this man-made scientific creation. I think that in this final scene with Cillian Murphy, you have to ask yourself, does he touch the face of God, metaphorically speaking? And if so, does that mean that science will ultimately bring us closer to God? Because in that final moment, faith and science shake hands. And I think that is ultimately what the film is about.